Hey guys, it's Barb from Halfway to Sane. I'd like to thank you for stopping by our channel. And today we're going to do a story on a girl named Kaylan Leslie Whitaker. She was born on October 12th, 1994, and she died October 31st of 2014. Kaylan was a happy, beautiful young lady who enjoyed life, and she was a talented student and artist, and she enjoyed learning and took up painting and ceramics. So unfortunately, some things happened with Kaylan, and we're just going to get right into the story for you. So Kaylan met her boyfriend Connor Scott during her senior year in high school, and their bond was pretty instant. Kaylan's family initially believed that Scott seemed like a pretty good guy, but the relationship soon soured. Kaylan's mother said that Scott was demanding and controlling, which frustrated Kaylan, and the relationship came to an end around 9 months later. Kaylan then met someone else while working in a department store. But Kaylan and Connor ended up getting back together 2 months later and soon got engaged. At that point, Kaylan moved in with Connor at his parents' basement apartment. Although things may have seemed normal between the couple, Kaylan's family suspected there were issues. The family seemed to change after the engagement. Kaylan's mother recalled that her daughter felt like Connor was controlling, and Kaylan said he didn't like her spending time with her friends, and she grew depressed. She just didn't seem the same. Then on October 31st, 2014, Connor called 911 and stated his fiancée had shot herself in the head. So initially, authorities suspected she died by suicide. But the investigation soon revealed her death was the result of something more sinister. It was around noon when Connor called 911 to report the sound of a gunshot and found Kaylan in bed beside him, dead. He told the dispatcher there was no one else in the home besides him and Kaylan, and he was sleeping beside her when the gun went off. Kaylan was partially under the covers, and a pistol, a Glock that investigators later learned belonged to Connor, was on the floor of the bedroom. There were also fresh holes in the drywall, raising authorities' suspicion. They believed they had been put there by someone punching the wall. Law enforcement traveled to Kaylan's parents' house in Indiana to deliver the news of her death. When they learned that Kaylan had supposedly shot herself, alarm bells went off. Following their suspicion, investigators brought Connor in for an interview that same day. He claimed that he and Kaylan had stayed up late into the night playing video games before they eventually fell asleep. When he woke up to the gunshot, he pushed the gun to the floor and checked Kaylan's pulse, finding her dead. He told authorities that although he believed Kaylan shot herself, he didn't believe she was depressed or suicidal. As the investigation progressed, several troubling details came to light. While the bullet retrieved from Kaylan's skull was a match to the gun at the scene, they found no soot or smoke residue. They also found no evidence of stippling, which is the marks left around the entry wound by burning gunpowder when a shot is fired at close range. Additionally, they discovered that Kaylan had died from a gunshot wound to the back of her head, but it's more common for people who die by suicide to shoot themselves in their temple. How would they reach the back of their head? Connor showed up to Kaylan's funeral, and he was visibly distraught. But Kaylan's family members were suspicious of him. As the forensic pathologist awaited a ballistics report that would shed light on whether it was possible for Kaylan to have shot herself, they issued their ruling. For the time being, Kaylan's manner of death was undetermined, pending further investigation. The family, however, wanted answers and were unwavering in their belief that Kaylan had been murdered. As the investigation moved forward, a ballistics expert was hired to work on the case. They carried out multiple experiments with the gun used to kill Kaylan, and the results validated the hunches of investigators. The gun had not been fired at close range. Authorities then knew they were dealing with a homicide, and they began to track down further evidence. A forensics expert who viewed the crime scene photos noticed something new. Small specks of blood were present on Kaylan's right palm, but there was no blood on the weapon. There was also blood on Kaylan's arm that was underneath the covers, a detail that spoke volumes to forensic pathologist Dr. Roland Kaur. Blood doesn't mysteriously sneak underneath the blanket. Experts used a computer simulation to recreate the crime scene, revealing that it would have been physically impossible for Kaylan to have held the gun at the angle needed to shoot herself. It was enough for Kaylan's death to be ruled a homicide. The state attorney's office, however, delayed in bringing forth charges, instead opting to slowly build their case against Connor, and even waited for a potential confession. Meanwhile, he maintained his innocence and refused to speak with law enforcement. The case was then put on hold and outraging Kaylan's family. 2 years after Kaylan's death, when a new state attorney was appointed, they reviewed the case and gathered further evidence, but still no charges were filed. The waiting proved unbearable for Kaylan's family, who in 2018 went to the media in the hope of getting justice. The case was then turned over to appellate attorneys, and a special prosecutor decided to try the case. As prosecutors went to work building the best case they could, other disturbing details came to light. Days before Kaylan was killed, she was spending time with a friend, who later told police that Kaylan received multiple messages from Connor, who was keeping tabs on her. The day she died, Kaylan had planned to attend a Halloween party, which authorities theorized may have caused Connor to snap and kill her. In 2019, Illinois prosecutors planned to bring charges against Connor, but he threw a wrench in their plans by unexpectedly confessing to the killing at a police station in Indiana. His admission set off a ticking clock for prosecutors because dogs are barking. Sorry, guys. His admission set off a ticking clock for prosecutors because law dictated that Connor either be charged or have a bond set within 48 hours of his arrest, or else he would be released. During a taped interview, Connor stated, "I killed Kaylan Whitaker back in 2014. I think was on Halloween." Connor told authorities he used a handgun that he kept underneath his bed to kill Kaylan. After he shot her, he became so upset that he punched the holes found in the wall. He went on to confess that he didn't know why he killed his fiancée, explaining that he was under the influence of meth and marijuana that night. He states, "If I could take it back, I would. Every day I think about her." When Kaylan's parents heard the news that her killer had finally confessed, they were overcome with relief. Connor ultimately accepted a deal from prosecutors and pled guilty to first-degree murder in exchange for 37 years in prison with no possibility of parole. And hopefully he never gets out. This is a sad case of just a young girl trying to live her life and be happy, and unfortunately was met up with somebody who was very controlling and didn't want to let her go. But thanks for stopping by, guys. If you have not yet, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and leave us a message down below. And if you have any ideas of any other stories, please let us know. Thank you and goodbye.